There is a huge, huge shock coming. Take a deep breath. Our monetary system, as you know it, is going to be completely different. If I haven't met you, my name is Coach JV. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button every single day, Monday through Friday. I'm bringing you content to make the complex simple. The key is financial education. And I've helped over 6,200 people since 2020 break free from this just over broke paradigm. We've been hundreds of messages around index universal life and protecting your wealth in the craziest economic times in the world. And what I'm about to show you today is going to shock you. I'm a licensed insurance agent. I have a team of agents ready to help you. We do everything in the protection of our academy. Down below in the description, due to all the scammers. Remember, I will never proactively DM you. I will never ask you to send me money. Those are all scammers. I put an alert on every single TikTok video every day. All right, so let's dive right into it. Man, what I'm about to show you, I want you to take a deep breath. This is the greatest time in human history. Listen to me, look me in the eyes. This is the greatest time in human history to change your family's wealth paradigm. But if you don't take action, indecision is a decision. If you're waiting for a savior or the new president to come back to change all this, you're waiting way too long. Nobody's coming to save you. I'm about to show you historical patterns, words, facts, figures, numbers, logic. We're heading into the exact same cycle. Highly recommend you get Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. Type it into YouTube and watch it over and over and over again, along with my videos. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a licensed insurance agent. This is not financial advice. Make sure you make informed decisions. There is no get rich quick. There's getting wealthy for sure by rewiring the foundation. We cannot do what our grandparents and our parents did, and I'm going to prove to you why. So yesterday, this was posted by CNBC. This was Powell, Lagarde, and other central bank governors speak at the ECB forum. So the heads of central banks are all sitting together. Now, if you have time, please go watch this 1 hour and 32-minute video. Please study this stuff, okay? This is your homework. I know this isn't exciting. It's not a meme coin. It's not going to get you rich quick, but having this type of financial education, you're going to separate yourself from the 99%. I'm about to show you a clip right here, and then I'm going to circle back to President Nixon in 1971 when we detached from the gold standard, guys. We're in the exact same type of position. Remember in 1971, they didn't have enough gold to service the dollars to back it, or the dollars, they didn't have enough gold to back the dollars that they said they had. And so what they did is they removed the convertibility of gold, and they said they're protecting you from speculators. And what are they saying right now? Cryptocurrency is a fraud. Non-bank financial institutions are not for you, protecting you from the speculators. And they say that the US economy is very strong. I'm going to show you some eerie familiarity. So this is the heads of the central banks all over the world. Okay, top central banks all over the world discussing interest rates. Guys, we are heading into high interest rates combined with high inflation. It is going to be dangerous for the middle class. A lot of you are going to lose your jobs. That's a fact, guys. Jobs and companies are going to be cut back. Interest rates, if you made, please listen to me, if you made $100,000 in 2020, you now make $87,000 without doing anything because of inflation. 17% cumulative inflation. Now interest rates are going up. If you have any variable loans, your payments almost doubled. Some of your payments doubled. Some of your rents went up 30%. I just bought a single family home in Arizona, 1,800 square feet for $600,000 at over 6% interest rate, $4,000 a month. That is a normal single family home. Pay attention. Gas prices, home prices, rent prices. Inaction is action. Okay. You need to make a decision. This is getting serious, family. I've been trying to warn people since 2020. You need to figure out a way to earn. You need to figure out a way to secure your wealth from these capital markets that could come collapsing down. Okay. All right. So let's dive right into this. Check this out.
Of the United States. I asked if you guys coordinated or talked about monetary policy before. I mean, does that happen? Should it be more coordinated?
So they all look at each other. Does that happen? Like, look at that. They just watch this. Watch this.
Because you're all doing different things right now.
Well, I mean, let's start. I mean, obviously what we don't do is say, what should we do? What should you do? Because we're all setting monetary policy for our areas, and that's the law in all of our areas actually. So we don't do that, but we do talk a lot, and I think it's important. I mean, it's important at all times, but it's particularly important in recent times at the moment because we're facing such big global shocks.
It's particularly important at the moment because we're facing global shocks. Write that down.
We've got common shocks.
We have common shocks. Write that down for the end of this video.
For a little bit in terms of their impact and their effect, but there's some huge global events going on that are affecting all of us. So, I think we do talk quite a lot and we see each other quite a bit because it's important we do that. And, we share wisdom on how we're sort of interpreting the things that are going on around us.
Yeah. I guess we are in a flexible exchange rate world, so we do policies independently. But of course, we exchange information, which is very, very valuable.
Do you think that, Governor Ueda, do you think that they are over-tightening?
No.
Okay, so he's the central bank. He's the head of the Japan, right? Okay. Now, what did Warren Buffett do in 2020, family? Warren Buffett closed out of almost all of his bank stocks except Bank of America. He's increased his position by 10%, and he went heavily into Japan. All these other countries here are over tightening, but now they're going to talk to Jerome Powell. He's literally giving you the blueprint of what's about to happen.
No, you don't. You approve of the policy. You've had a very tight labor market for a long time in Japan, even before COVID.
Yes.
Demographics.
Yeah. It's working in a way to tighten the labor market for quite a long while. And it's going to continue this way for a while.
I mean, the economic conversation, it gets into an interesting question, Chair Powell, where now we're wondering, easier to fight inflation last year when the economy was doing better. But now that we're seeing signs of softness and weakness in manufacturing.
I've been telling you guys since July 2020, the back end of this year, Q3 and Q4, everybody was calling me crazy, commenting, you're out of your mind. Everything's softening now. You're seeing the reverberation effect of interest rates.
And you mentioned the labor market starting to cool off, about overdoing it and the risk of overdoing it. Do you wonder about that, or you're still just focused on inflation?
Let me say the U.S. economy has actually been quite resilient.
Okay, write that down. The U.S. economy has been quite resilient. They keep saying the U.S. economy is very strong. We're going to watch a video, 2 more videos after this, and you're going to see the crazy similarities to the shock in the system and what Nixon said in 1971.
The data that we're still seeing, including since the last meeting, still is consistent with with an economy that's resilient and growing albeit at a modest pace. As I mentioned earlier, though, yes, there was no question. The first question was how fast should we go, and we went pretty fast, and we got to a level that we believe is restrictive. We're in restrictive territory. If you take the federal funds rate and you subtract some forward-looking measure of expected inflation, you'll get a significantly positive real rate, meaning we're probably in restrictive territory. So, and I think we have steadily slowed the pace of our moves, and it's appropriate to do so for one reason, because the more information we get, the better decisions we'll make. The risks of doing too much versus doing too little become more in balance. I wouldn't say they're in balance yet, but they're becoming closer to balance. I still believe and the committee clearly believes that there's more work to do, that there are more rate hikes that are likely to be appropriate, though.
There you go. There's more rate hikes likely to be appropriate. Based on the rate hikes that we're feeling now, a house, like I'll just use simplistic stuff, right? This house, the single family home, right, was about $300,000, maybe $400,000. $600,000 with inflation over the past, with the money printing, right? And then interest rates skyrocketing. The payment goes from what, $2,300 about, maybe if I'm not doing my math incorrectly, up to $4,000 a month. This is a reverberation effect. And he just said, we're going to continue to raise interest rates. Yeah, they're going to slow them down in July. That's just to keep the markets calm, guys. Do you realize that the companies that your 401k is invested in, you probably don't even know where your 401k is invested in. It's a variable account. It's attached to the markets. When it's attached to the markets, when your 401k comes collapsing down and it goes down 20, 30%, if it does, it takes you 4 years to recover back to baseline. That's why I use it, index universal life. It has a guaranteed floor to it. So as everybody comes collapsing down, our principal is secure when we go back into a normal market because it's indexed. Okay. When the market goes back up, we start to go back up. Okay. So we don't have that 4-year lull. Our money is protected. We can borrow against our money. This is why it's so important to start opening up your mind to a new awareness.
So you think the risk is still of doing too little and not getting control of inflation?
Yes, and of course
But inflation expectations are, I don't have to tell you, very well anchored.
no, but the thing with the risks is that there may be social costs associated with restoring price stability. The social costs of failing to restore price stability will be higher in almost all likely cases. We've seen what that looks like, and it's just something that we have to do. It's the one of the principal things that society counts on us to accomplish, and I think we all feel committed to accomplishing it. It is of course a good thing that inflation expectations have remained anchored all this time, but our understanding of inflation expectations is not a precise one, and the longer inflation remains high, the more risk there is that inflation will become entrenched in the economy. So we have to, the passage of time is not our friend here.
So he's telling you the passage of time is not your friend. He said, if we don't get this fixed, inflation's going to, then you'll have high interest rates, high inflation. So they're going to keep jacking up interest rates. The cost of money is going to become more expensive. Your value of your dollar, well, when the inflation comes down and interest rates go up, if we're a debt-based society, my dollar is your debt, family, because of the next couple videos that I'm going to show you. My dollar is your debt. Every single dollar in the system is debt. So when they raise interest rates, we get screwed. And we're screwing other countries. That's why the BRICS countries are working to de-dollarize. Every time our interest rates go up, the dollar becomes more valuable because if we place it into an account, right, we get more interest rate on it. So when interest rates go up, your money that you get to hold it or to fix it becomes higher, right? But nobody has any money anymore. Only 6% of people in America retire with $1 million. Okay, so we know what they said yesterday, okay? And remember, did you write down the shock part? Okay, so remember what Rosie Rios said. He said, we are going through a global shock. But listen to what she said about changes in the monetary system.
First financial crisis of 2008-2009 era. One, consumer behavior is the hardest to change unless there's a shock to the system. And I will introduce what that shock is in a minute. So debt, housing, spending. There were definitely patterns here, but there are now new patterns. The fundamentals of the job market have evolved. We now have the gig economy. So, for example, in the United States, here's a great question for you all. Is an Uber driver considered employed or unemployed in the US? The answer is, as is the case for most economic questions, it depends. In this case, if an Uber driver is actively seeking other employment, then he's considered unemployed. But again, those are factors that we would never have thought about in the previous economy that we are now faced with today. And of course, shifting key demographics will influence economic and social behaviors. There is a whole new generation of investing, saving, and spending that is coming to life in millennials and post-millennials, which I will also discuss in a minute.
Okay, you need a shock to the system. The guy from Japan said key demographic shifts. Think about this, guys. They're literally parroting the same stuff. Okay, so now let's listen to what President Nixon said in 1971.
The third indispensable element in building the new prosperity is closely related to creating new jobs and halting inflation. We must protect the position of the American dollar as a pillar of monetary stability around the world. In the past 7 years, there's been an average of one international monetary crisis every year. Now, who gains from these crises? Not the working man, not the investor, not the real producers of wealth. The gainers are the international money speculators. Because they thrive on crises, they help to create them.
Take everything he says and do it backwards. They thrive on crises that they work to create them. Who creates the dips? BlackRock, right? The dips happen, cryptocurrency is a fraud, and they increase their position in MicroStrategies, which just increase their position in Bitcoin. They're protecting you from the speculators, from cryptocurrency. They're protecting you from the non-bank financial institutions, as our monetary system has no money. We are a debt-based society. They have to borrow money or raise the debt ceiling to pay for critical services.
In recent weeks, the speculators have been waging an all-out war on the American dollar.
Where are we at right now? The BRICS countries are raging an all-out war on the US dollar.
The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world.
What did Jerome Powell just say? Exact same thing. Exact same thing.
Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
So they detached us from the gold standard to protect us from the speculators, right? Well, right before that, guys, they found out that America didn't have enough gold to back the currency. So what they did was they detached the convertibility from gold to currency and turned us into a printing machine, literally fiat money, fake money. Well, in 1974, what they decided to do, they're like, oh shit, we're going to lose control of our dominance. So they worked with the Saudis to give them arms and protection to trade all oil in US dollars, which made US dollars extremely valuable in the most powerful economy in the ecosystem. And then around 1978, don't quote me on the dates, I think it was 1978, these companies were sitting there that used to be able to have the American dream was alive, guys. You could go to school, get a good job, you could spend $30,000 on education, you could get a nice job with a nice pension, retire and be paid for the rest of your life. So you had a future. Well, guess what? Why, as a company, would you do a pension when the dollar is decreasing every single day? They knew the dollar was decreasing, so they created what's called the 401k, in my opinion. The 401k said, screw that. Company said, we're not going to pay you for the rest of your life anymore after you retire. We're going to put retirement into your hands, okay? And we're going to have you put your hard-earned money into these retirements, into the speculative markets, which is the variable markets, the capital markets, the stock market. And we're going to lock your money up. And we're going to penalize the shit out of you if you use your money during your living years. And then when you retire, we're going to tax you on that money on your retirement. And we're going to use your money in the capital markets. We're going to grow your money. We're going to feed the shit out of you. Guys, the American dream is dead. Pensions are dead. Social Security, they have to borrow to pay for Social Security. Do you see the similarities in the cycle then? The part about this, the dangerous cycle that we're in right now, is that we don't have a gold standard. Our money is not backed by anything. The BRICS countries are working to de-dollarize from the American dollar by trading in their own currencies, creating their own monetary systems. Here's what I believe is going to happen. Within the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have an even playing field, a one world economy that moves across distributed ledger technology, on-demand liquidity. I'm not for this, but there's going to be central bank digital currencies, and you're going to transact very quickly, very efficiently. So if I want to buy a home in Japan, I will be able to send my cryptocurrency across a blockchain and do that transaction within seconds versus going to the bank, sending a wire across the SWIFT system to wait for another banker on the other side to approve it. It's going to be quick. It's going to be efficient. That's what ISO is about, guys. It's a messaging system that has to keep up with this new monetary system. So when your family, your grandparents, your mom and dad are telling you cryptocurrency is a Ponzi scheme, they're right. There is a lot of Ponzi schemes out there, but they're not correct in the fact that distributed ledger technology, on-demand liquidity, real-time payments are not here to stay. They're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. Everything in the markets will be tokenized. Everything. I mean, think about how much risk I'm doing putting this on video. Everything will be tokenized. Everything will run across a cryptographic or blockchain or cryptocurrency. You'll have cryptocurrency. You're going to have on-demand liquidity, real-time payments. Money's going to move super fast. And all of you say you're going to resist it. Well, guess what? You're going to forget about the fact that you resist it, and you're going to be in the new monetary system. Just like everything changed after September 11th, just like everything keeps changing, problem, reaction, solution. So So I'm going to keep doing these videos. If you want to be around a like-minded community, remember, we're not against anybody. We're not protesting. We're not against anybody. We are responsible for our own actions and behaviors. As Jesus said, in the end, you will find the beginning, but in the beginning is the end. So your decisions, your actions, your behaviors. Pull the log out of your eye before you pull the straw out of another's, and let's learn to love each other unconditionally without expectations, and let's work to get our own shit together. Warriors, rise. Love you guys.